Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm here. I got a surprise for you. I got Mario X3. He's a Sureno. He's going to break down what a Sureno is. I'm going to bring different people up here to explain who they are, where they came from, and things of that nature. Like, I'm going to bring a GD up here with a gangster disciple, a vice lord. I'm going to bring somebody from Louisiana, somebody from Miami. I know y'all want to know about the Booby Boys, so I'm going to get a personal interview, you know what I mean, that I'm working on with Booby, that Rick Ross spoke about. But right now, it's about Mario X3. He's a Sureno. He's going to explain what that is. So if y'all got any questions at the end, put it in. Remember to subscribe, and also subscribe to my other YouTube channel where I want to do these lives at, is Unique Mecca Audio TV. Remember, Unique Mecca Audio TV. Subscribe to Unique Mecca Audio TV. Now, make sure you copy your book of Row in Harlem. You want to know what happened during the crack era. This is based on true events. This is my story. So now I did 26 years in federal prison for being a drug kingpin on the East Coast, from doing my thing. Now I'm going to bring a good brother up here that's going to break down the politics of California prison, the Surenos, and the different, gangs out there, and, just what he experienced. And there's certain things he can't talk about, and certain things I'm not going to ask him to talk about, because that's not what this program is about. This program is about showing the youth that, if you enter this life, that there is rules, there is consequences, and there is structure. So this is where we at. Let me bring my brother up here now. All right. Tell them who you are, family.
Hey, my name's Mario. I'm a Sureno. I grew up in Orange County, California, Santa Ana. I did a little bit of time in the state pen, did some time in the feds. Orange County, Santa Ana is located in between San Diego County and LA County. People who don't know, when you tell them you're from Orange County, they think you're like from the beach, from Newport Beach or Laguna Beach, but no, we lived in the hood. Santa Ana, it's predominantly Hispanic, Mexican, and a little bit of it's brothers and a lot of Asians, but it's the hood.
Okay, so what was your childhood like growing up out there?
Man, as a kid, my family took me to the States. We went from Mexico, we migrated to California, and I ended up in Santa Ana, not knowing how to speak any English, I was an alien, totally. And growing up in the hood, we were low-income family, so we always lived in the hood, we lived on the worst streets in Santa Ana. We had to move from house to house here and there. Every neighborhood we lived in, there was constant running gun battles, gunshots, murders. Police, since I was a kid, are constantly profiling you. As a kid, I used to play Little League Baseball. I played sports. I was into sports. I love sports. But the gang culture is so embedded in those streets. In Santa Ana, every street is a neighborhood. It's a Mexican gang. Everybody mostly is Mexican. We don't have Salvadorians, or we don't have 18th Street or MS in Orange County. Everybody's Mexican, and it's everywhere you go, everywhere you turn, you see graffiti. This street is this gang's graffiti. The next street is a different gang's graffiti, and you pretty much grew up around that. And as a youngster, eventually it kind of sucked me in a little bit. I'm from a neighborhood. I'm from a small neighborhood. As a youngster, we weren't ready to really duke it out and start shooting people up, but we used to tag. My friends used to tag. We used to be taggers. Eventually, the big neighborhoods, they don't like taggers. They don't want you tagging on their walls, disrespecting the streets, because to them, the way we grew up, that's our real estate. And a few neighborhoods try to take us under their wing and basically have us convert to their neighborhood and drop our name. Well, we used to hang out with them. They kind of schooled us, and eventually we decided we were going to be our own gang. And that's how it all started, really.
Okay, so who did you look up to growing up?
Man, growing up, being a gang member in my family was something kind of like taboo. My family were mostly, Mexican paisas, and I, and my close immediate family, I don't have a whole lot of gang banging. wasn't much of a thing. But what really, my family, a lot of people in my family were selling dope, major dope, and around 1997, I used to sell weed at a park on the wrong neighborhood of town. My neighborhood was far from where I was living at, so I'm going to this park, and I'm slinging a little bit of weed, and I got introduced to crack cocaine, and it messed me all up, you know. Eventually, 3 years after I started using, I stopped, and a close family member seen the potential in me, and I always grew up around people that were pushing major weight, a lot of weight, and I didn't have a whole lot of options. I grew up in a restaurant. My mom, hardworking Hispanic lady, she had a restaurant. She just sold it, but she had a restaurant. I always grew up. I grew up with a single mother, and we were five. And one of my family members, close family friends, started giving me meth to sell, and it was very profitable. I used to get it from the main source, and I went from a half an ounce to a quarter pound to a half a pound to a pound to 12 pounds a week in about a year, man. And I love the life. That opened up the doors for me to literally, I had like some type of immunity. I can go in through pretty much any hood because I had a pass. Eventually, when you start pushing that much dope, you have to check in. You have to check in with somebody to get a pass because you don't want to get robbed. You don't want to put your family in danger. You don't want to end up in the county jail and be like, yo, you were doing all this and you weren't kicking down. So eventually, I started, paying my respects to to the big homie that had the area, and I remember life was good, man. Making quick money. I thought that was never gonna end. I thought that was gonna be like my career, my lifestyle forever, and it all crashed down. I had a very reputable guy in the city. I didn't know they were going through this, but they had just been picked up on a big indictment, and this guy was out there running around, and I don't know how he was able to get bail when everybody's looking at Fed time. Well, anyways, that's how pretty much it went down. I ended up getting set up with 2 pounds of meth in a car, and I got pulled over on the 5 freeway going down to San Clemente in Orange County, and just so happens that the cop that pulled me over was on a freeway overpass with binoculars, like staring at me. I was out on bail. I was out on bail at the time for a marijuana and a gun possession, and since I was illegal, that was the only time I was able to get bail. Because I wasn't convicted for the crime, but I got set up cold. This guy set me up with 2 pounds of meth, and as soon as the highway patrol pulls me over, like he had a canine with them. He went straight where the dope was at, and they play it off real good, like it was just a common coincidence, but it wasn't. But you know, I was doing a deal with one of the most well-known guy in the city in Santa Ana. He used to roll with the Black Hand. I'm not gonna speak on the Black Hand, but he ended up setting me up, man, to save his own skin.
Okay, all right. So, how was the racism when you was there, when you was growing up? As far as were there black gangs? What was going on with the blacks around you? Because you mentioned the Chinese, and you know.
Yeah, growing up in Orange County, there's really no black gangs. There's not a whole lot of brothers in Orange County. San Diego, LA County, they have them. When you go to the county jail, you don't even. It's so segregated that they pretty much on the very low levels, like in the dorm living, they'll have you with like black people, but these are not like gang members. These are like regular black people, regular normal, your normal, your normal Joe. They got arrested for a DUI or something wild like that. So there's still little issues. When it's like when a regular Joe runs into like somebody that's being schooled and and they're they're feeding you these rules, like you don't associate with certain people, you don't eat or smoke or drink or do any type of business with certain people. You know, the brothers, they don't get that. The brothers don't get that type of schooling when they're going through the system. You know, some of them are not even gang members, and the ones that are gang members, they have them in cell living. You know, they don't keep us together. Some counties are different. I was locked up in San Diego County Jail on my way to the feds. It was a lot different, a lot different. You know, you were there with the brothers, and it was But in Orange County, like we don't. I can't tell you that any gangs really like we beef with like Bloods or Crips, because there ain't none. There's Asians. We beef with Asians, and Asians are pretty freaking deadly, man. They don't play. The Asian gangs in Orange County, but you go into the system, you don't really see them. Couple of riots in the dorm living, but once you jack up your points and you go from a white band to a yellow band, you'll never see a brother in the county jail in Orange County. You'll never see them. Only on the way to court, on the buses, and there's so many. There's so little in numbers that they actually put them like on the cages, and we ride freely on the bus because they don't want us, messing with them.
Yeah, jumping them, whooping them.
Yeah, it's very racial, and in prison it's all about numbers. And I mean, in Orange County, the Southsiders outnumber all the races, all of them. There's a lot of crazy white boys in Orange County. The white gangs, the main powerful white gangs in the system come from that area, from Orange County. They're not from LA, San Diego.
What are some of the names of the white gangs that they have in the system in California, if you could speak on that? I don't need to know details, just the names.
The guy, there's everybody, the ABs, and Aryan Brotherhood. They're originally from California, and their main soldiers are they're called P9. They're with the business. They don't play. They're vicious.
What are some of the? Give me a incident or two that you seen them do while you labeled them as vicious.
I'm not gonna tell you about any incidents that I seen, because I was on 1 yard with them, but you look up at the statistics, the most incident reports between the same races going at it in the cells, and Sureños, we have rules and regulations. If you break them, you're gonna pay some dire consequences. The consequences are for real. You can't. A Southsider, Sureno, cannot take flight on another Sureno, because there's going to be some serious consequences, And they have rules and regulations too, but according to the census and the California prison system, they have the most incidents where they kill each other in the cells.
I'm glad you mentioned that. When I was in Lum Park in 2002, right? I was in the shoe. They had a big riot with the Surenos, and I don't remember who it was offhand. I got to talk to somebody over in M Unit. So I know y'all remember that was there. Remember the riot that was in M Unit in 2002. When they had this riot in 2002, they had to open up another unit in order to put it. I think the other side of M Block is where they made the shoe. But I was in that unit, and I was like on a third tier, and it was a Spanish guy that came off the bus, and they put him in the cell with a little stocky Sureno that used to work out every day. And they was cool. They was cooking together. They was throwing the wheel out. That's the kite, throwing the wheel down the line, and they was big. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah. So now they was bidding, and they put the two of them in the cell together, and they was getting along great. We could hear them through the bars. It wasn't doors, it was bars on the doors. And somebody must have seen the guy that went to the wreck that was in the side with the little Sureno brother, right? And they sent him a kite, letting them know that he was from a different set or he did something wrong. I don't know what it is. I don't speak on what I don't know. But whatever it was that was in the kite, he wasn't one of them. You know what I mean? So this little dude went to choking him out. And we heard this dude screaming. I say he was a little stocky dude. He threw his hands around his neck because, of course, the police went around talking about it to everybody. But he threw his hands around his neck, and was choking this dude out for dear life. Same dude that he was breaking bread with, eating with, sending a wheeler. You know what I mean? They was bidding because he had an issue with their gang, and his big homie, the little stocky Sureno brother, his big homie sent him a kite that he was supposed to be there, and everything was off as good as they was getting along. Could you explain that as far as when you get a kite from a big homie to do something? Can you say no, me and him is cool or whatever? Explain how that worked when you get an order when you're in the Surenos.
You know, you could be in an institution, man, and we check. As soon as you hit the joint, this is normal protocol. As soon as you get arrested, you go to the county, then you go to the state prison after you get sentenced. As soon as you get arrested, we check your paperwork. First thing, why are you arrested? We check paperwork. We check everybody's paperwork. Um, when I go to another prison and I go to a celly, my paperwork's already been checked in the county jail. As soon as I hit reception and got designated to the prison I'm going to, they check my paperwork. So out of respect, whenever I go into any cell with another homie, another Sureno, like off top, you just go, hey, here's my paperwork, and he'll do the same thing. He'll show you his paperwork. You'll see what he got arrested for. You're gonna see everything. If he snitched, by the time you get to where you're going, if he has any type of smut on his jacket, he's he's never gonna make it that far. He's gonna get got somewhere along the line. But anyways, when once you're doing time, and sometimes you fuck up, excuse my French, but you mess up on a yard. They move on you something. You leave a yard owing money or something. You go somewhere, and word, unique. Word gets around, it's especially in the feds because it's so easy to communicate with emails and the phone calls, and everybody knows when you transpack and you're packing out. Everybody knows where you're going, so most of the time, soon as you hit the yard, they know you're coming, and if you have any type of smut on you, they're gonna get you up. They're gonna know everything. So what you're talking about is probably a guy that they were probably expecting him or something, but homie didn't know. But as soon as he got there, they found out and they told him, hey, you gotta take the trash out. Basically, that's what happened right there.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now, let's say he was to say he didn't want, I know what would happen, but I just want the people listening. Let's say he was to say, nah, but me and him is cool. He's a good dude.
You
know what I
can't
mean?
do that. That don't fly. Big homie
What,
tells you, take the trash out, you take the trash out.
what would happen if he didn't?
He go with them.
Okay. That's what I want. See, this is for the youth, so you could understand that when the big homie makes a call, you must carry it out, or else now you got what he calls smut on you, and you become trash that have to be taken out when you go somewhere else.
Yeah, you have to conduct yourself. You have to move. You have to conduct yourself, and you have to move accordingly, like a G. And I'm gonna tell you, once you sign up for this, there's no going back. I'm gonna tell you a little. I can't speak on the big homies much, but I'm gonna tell you this: all the big homies are breadwinners. All the big homies are smart. They're very smart. All the big homies are killers. All of them, especially from the old school. The old guys that you see on the yard, the old school big homies. Those guys are straight, cold-blooded killers. You don't want to say no to them. This is how smart these guys are, unique. I met a guy in 2007. I got my first violation after getting out of prison. I went to Chino. Chino is the most racist prison in California. Okay, that's where a lot of it has a lot of history, big history from the Mexican mafia, and Chino, right there, man. You can cut the tension with a knife. That's how thick the tension is all the time. I don't know about now. I haven't been in the state system since 2010, but I met this guy. He was doing life in federal prison. He already been to the state. He all that, and he's a very smart guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was already in the ranks to be made. But what really catapulted him to that status, this guy from his second bank robbery, he was convicted of bank robbery, and he represented himself in his appeal pro per, and he beat his case in federal court and was granted parole. You know, he got made into a big homie from the mob. He's no longer a big homie now. He's in protective custody. But that's how smart these guys are. These guys are, they're not just breadwinners, they're not just ruthless stone cold killers. Some of these guys have a high IQ.
Okay, so now being that you said that, like I said, if you can't answer, don't, because that's not what my program is about. I don't bash nobody. I don't bash no group. I don't talk negative about nobody. I don't even feed into negative comments. But then now, you said that he's now in protective custody. Can you tell us why? We don't know his name. We don't want to know his name.
His name rings bells. He was from my area, young guy. I got to meet him 2007. We were in the shoe together. I got to spend a little bit of time. He asked for a favor, so I did a favor. You know, once I was looking for recognition. I got a 90-day violation. I came out 14 months later for doing that favor. You know, and but it's those type of politics I can't speak about. But the game is is twisted. Your brothers are waiting for you to slip, and if you slip, your brothers will get you in prison. It's a cutthroat thing, man. You know, we can be chopping it up, we can be conniving, we can hurt you. You know, first time you slip, you're out, and that's what happened to him. He slipped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
okay, that's good enough. But now, if you can, or maybe give a couple of scenarios so that we don't know which one you're speaking on. What type of favor did you do that turned 3 months into 14 months? If you can't answer, don't.
Yeah, I can. He was trying to, big homie wanted to get dope, and the system now changed in California. It changed when we used to catch violations to go when we got violated from parole, state pen. We go to, if you're from Orange County, San Bernardino County, or LA County, we all go to this prison called Chino State Penitentiary. And there was dudes that didn't go to. They got lucky. They lived. I think the requirements were, if you live near the area and you were short timing, they wouldn't send you like far away to another state prison. They'll give you like a privilege to let you stay on the reception yard. There was a building and reception yard where you could do your time right there, and your family will be close and they'll come visit you and whatnot. So imagine Chino's in the middle of LA. It's in San Bernardino County, but it's in the middle. Basically, it's in the middle of LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, and Orange County. From my city to San Bernardino County to the prison was a 30-minute ride. From downtown LA to there was like a 40-minute ride. From San Bernardino to there was like a 40-minute ride. From downtown Riverside to there was like a 40-minute ride. So anybody, it was a big privilege. So these guys could all get visits, you know. So the big homie, he wanted to get dope, you know. And Sureno, in our thing, like, we're not allowed to do meth. A lot of homies do it though, but we're not allowed to do meth. But heroin is cool. So the homie wanted to get his issue, and the guys in that, and he was already made a big homie, but the guys in those buildings, they were kind of scared. They didn't want to bring in any dope. So he said, "Hey, I'm gonna send these dudes a message. I need somebody to do me a favor and go beat up somebody. You know, don't stab them, just stomp them out. And I'm sending them a message that I want them to get in line." So, you know, that guy actually put hands on. He was actually a cool dude. I'm not gonna say his name. He was an older guy, healthy guy. You know, he was an old school Sureno, man, old school gang member. I don't even know if he was one of the, I don't even think that guy was getting visits, but we had to send him a message that guys were getting visits, but he lived on that building. So one day after chow, me and my celly, Marcelli, we take off on that guy. You know, they sprayed us down. They beat us with batons. They told us don't stop till we had to get. Once we beat him up, we had to get to where the big homie was at. And he specifically this were the this is what they said. If you guys beat this guy up, you can't stop till they beat you with batons because that's the only way you're gonna be get sent to the hole. If they pepper spray you and you stop, they're not gonna send you to the hole where you need to go. So you need to beat them till they hit you with batons. So we did that. They said, and if for whatever reason you don't land to where you need to go, to that part of the hole, because the hole is huge in Chino's huge. It's a big hole, man. There's thousands of people in that building. So they're like, if they sent you to a different hole, you gotta do it again till you get to where you need to go. And I was like, damn, is that right? Luckily, we got to where we needed to go.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So was there any black gangs when you was growing up?
Nah, man, there was no black gangs in where I was growing up. You know, they're about 30 minutes away in Long Beach, the harbor area, and like Riverside, reputable black gangs, Riverside, San Bernardino, LA, but not in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
Not in Orange County, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But once you know, it's once you hit the state prison, and you know, you got some serious racism issues like on the streets of LA, like blacks and Hispanics, you know. Um, the tension is you know, in state prison we have imaginary lines, unique, like that's the brothers area, this is the Sureños area, that's the white area, and there's imaginary lines. Okay, they're not painted there, but you know not to cross that area. So it happened. It happened once in Chino when I'm walking on Chino Eastshore. I'm walking the track and I got a little bit too close to the handball courts. You know, three brothers came and like, you know, they're like, where do you think you're going? You know, and that's when I got schooled. Hey, those are the lines. You know, that's you're out of bounds. They're basically telling you you're out of bounds. If you keep walking closer to them, they're gonna take that as in you're gonna try to do something to them. So they're ready. You know, they're ready.
Okay, so with those imaginary lines that's there, you're saying if they cross them, you know, what happens? Did they beat them up? They tell them don't come. I mean, tell the people. I know what happened, but you tell the people.
If you cross the lines, you're basically pretty much looking to get stabbed, man. You know, one thing I seen in state prison having a knife. If you get caught with a knife in state prison, it's you can get a strike. If you have two strikes, you can strike out. You know, imagine being in state prison for a prison violation. You're a two striker. You know, you're like 30 years old, and you catch another strike. That's 25 years, 25 to life. One thing that blew my mind was when I got to Atwater. Like I heard about it. You get caught with a knife, you go 30 days to the hole. I was like, what, man? I turned my cell into a knife factory. You know, in my block over in 5B, I always had 5, 6 knives on deck, ready to go. We had a really cool hiding spot till somebody checked in, and we lost the hiding spot. But I seen in the feds, they weren't really tripping like that. It was a lot more loose. You know, in California it's different because of you know, in California, you know, you got black gangs, you got Mexican gangs. You know, you're gonna run into somebody that killed one of your homies in a level 4 yard. You know, or you're gonna run into somebody that was homies with somebody you killed. So the tension is very high. The imaginaries are real. You cross an imaginary line, man, you will get stabbed. You know, you will get stabbed, and it'll cause a riot. So you gotta be aware because you can't cause riots. You can't shut the yard down. Why? Because there's money to be made on the yard. And if you mess up and you cause a race riot, you shut the yard down. And if there's no money being made, big homies are not liking it. You know?
You know, it's good you said that, and that's why, you know, I like these type of interviews so we could kick it because there's two things you said. Now, the first one you mentioned about in the feds when you got the Atwater, they gave you 30 days in the hole for a knife.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, listen. When I got there was back in 2007, right? In 2007, when I was there, it was nothing, you know what I mean, that would put you in the hole other than you getting stabbed up to get a hole in you. So if you got caught with a knife in Atwater, they took you to the lieutenant office and they gave you an incident report and sent you back to the unit. They kept your knife, sent you back to the unit, so you go get another knife to go kill somebody else or do whatever. Now, at that time, the DHO, you know, the disciplinary hearing officer, for those that don't know, I know you know, the DHO only came in June and December. That's the only time they came. You know what I mean? June and December, sometimes June and January. But so could you imagine getting a shot for a knife? You got 6 months because they come only, you know, twice a year. So can you imagine how many knife shots and other incident reports and all that is piled up? So they got a stack of incident reports like this, right? Now, when they come, they put out the call out. The call out is this thick. And on each page, there's about 50 names. And it's this thick for DHO. If you don't go to DHO, you know what I mean? It depends how they're feeling. 9 times out of 10, they're just going to call the next person thinking that you're going to come up later. But when it start getting close to the end of the day, they'll turn around and then now they're going to say, oh, he didn't show up. I'm going to hold his hearing. Tell him that he got, you know, lost a phone, you know what I mean? And lost a commissary. Go ahead.
You know, the feds were so petty, man. I remember one day, right after breakfast, there was this white dude who used to run with the brothers. He used to run with the Southern Card. And you know, we have the structure. Southsiders have the structure, you know. And I know it blows a lot of people's minds, you know. Like, how can you have another man tell you what to do? But that's a Southern structure, you know. Everybody knows this. This is no secret. You know, we have people placed in certain areas and they call the shots. And I'm not gonna get any more, but I'm just gonna say that. But that blows a lot of people's minds, the type of discipline, how we run our program. And there was this Caucasian guy who used to run with the brothers, and he was disrespecting us. I didn't know till it happened. I had no clue what was going on till it happened. They weren't telling us this was going on. But I remember the homie that had the yard. This guy was riding little kites. He was riding little kites, and he was dissing us. He was dissing Southsiders, like making fun of us. Like he was riding kites, writing the homie's name, and saying, "Yo, fucking." This is what he was saying. He said, he write the person's name that had the yard. He knew who had the yard. He write his name, and he basically like write little notes of him snitching.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
What?
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. Rush. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. did it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spin a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. Baby horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.